Folks, welcome to Corvette Talk with Scags. Although it took 67 years for the Corvette to get the motor in the back, it was heading in that direction for a long time. Chevrolet and General Motors actually built nearly 24 rear/mid-mounted Corvettes before the 2020 introduction. Some of them were built for famous car shows or motoramas. Some of them were built to test componentry for the actual production car, and some of them almost made it into production. And the ones that nearly made it into production are gorgeous. There's no doubt in my mind that if they actually did make it into production, that they would have been a sales success. Now I say mid and or rear motor because there's a difference between the two. A rear motor would sit behind the rear wheels, kind of like the Porsche 911. A mid-engine Corvette, the motor would sit in front of the rear wheels, just behind the driver. And there's also something called a longitudinally mounted motor, which sits the motor parallel to the rear wheels. Pretty much early on, Chevrolet and General Motors engineers determined that a mid-mounted motor would give the Corvette the performance that they were looking for. So folks, the moral of the story here is that if you think the 2020 Corvette was the first Corvette to have the motor in the back, you're in for a surprise. Check some of these out. As early as 1964, actually as early as 1960, because Serve 1, which I did a video on a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, whatever, was actually developed in 1960. So check some of these out. GS11B, which is this awesome car here. It actually became the Chaparral Can-Am car. This exact one, I guess Chaparral put a big fin on the back and a wing on the front, and this vehicle actually saw duty as the Chaparral race car. Here is Serve 2, also from 1964. Here's a beautiful illustration of 11B there by K. Scott Teeters. I'm going to flip the page here, and we get a look at XP819. This was actually a rear-mounted, a rear-engine-mounted Corvette with the motor behind the rear wheels. It was determined that two individuals could actually lift the whole front end up, so that wasn't the position that they determined the engine was best suited. Here's another beautiful picture from K. Scott Teeters of the Serve 2. And here's another beautiful picture of the Serve 2. Part of the seats were into the door, and the steering wheel and pedals had to be adjusted. So this car, the seats were stationary, and the door was actually part of the seat. So when you close the door, you were actually sitting in the seat. So this is a very interesting vehicle. I think I'm going to do another special video on this car alone because it's really so interesting. I also had a little notation here about GS1B. GS1B rocket blasted the Milford Proving Grounds at over 198 miles an hour. So these things were no joke. So as you can see, very early on, Chevrolet was considering a mid-mounted Corvette. Moving on from there, in 1967 and 1968, Chevy had the Astro 1, the Astro 2, and the Astro Vette. Check this baby out. Beautiful clamshell opening rear hatch. Another beautiful picture by K. Scott Teeters. Periscope, so you can see behind it. Let's see what I have. Let's see what I have highlighted here. From 1960 to 1976, Chevrolet Research and Development, Chevrolet Styling, built 11 functional mid-engine Corvettes. So that's pretty stunning right there. And they continued all the way up to the current one. Let's see what we have over here. Astro, atop the roof is a 3-element rear view periscope because there's no rear window. Check out how cool that is. So all sorts of weird, cool concepts for the Astro 1. I'm going to turn the page here, and we're going to check out Astro 2. What a handsome car is that, huh? Beautiful. K. Scott Teeters working his magic there. Lovely. Almost looks like a Ferrari Dino. Beautiful lines. Once again, folks, these vehicles are still in existence. Hopefully you checked out the Chevrolet Heritage Collection. You would see that Astro Vette 2 is definitely still in existence and looking beautiful in the Heritage Collection. Let's turn the page here. And this one wasn't so popular, although I think it's kind of cool. So 1968 hit a new sales record with 28,566 units. So folks, the reason why a lot of these didn't make it into production was because the Corvette was already selling well. And the concept was, why replace something that's selling so well with something that might not sell at all? But there's the Astro Vette, another cool one. Okay, I'm going to boogie along here, because there's a lot of cool rear and or mid-engine Corvettes. From there, we go to, check that baby out, the XP882 from 1970.
Beautiful, huh? This one nearly made it into production. So there's one picture of that. It's a black and white, unfortunately. Turning the page, you can see the beautiful vented rear window there. The Lamborghini Miura had that, and I guess everyone wanted a copy of the Lamborghini Miura, and why not? It was a gorgeous vehicle. So the XP882 from 70 and the XP895, which was an aluminum version of the 882, was actually competition for the Miura, the Dino, the Pantera, and the Ford GT40. So Chevrolet did not like the market being capitalized by someone else. That's one of the reasons why they rolled out some of these. There it is at a Autorama or Motorama. There's a beautiful front view of the XP895, which was built by Reynolds Aluminum. It was an aluminum body. It made the car very light. Less than 3,000 pounds, 2,700 pounds, I believe. A beautiful angle there. Gorgeous car. And that one nearly made it into production, like I said, for 1973. Okay, moving on from there. We go to the two-rotor Corvette XP8977 from 1973. Another beauty. Here's one of the things I was talking about last week, how they make them out of a block of clay before they actually make the prototype. This is a beautiful car, and Chevrolet was trying different power plants at the time, and they developed a Corvette, the two-rotor Corvette, with a two-rotor motor. Think Mazda RX-7. And very interesting, beautiful interior, gorgeous front end, beautiful lifting hatch. You can see the way the driver sits there. This one, the motor actually sits on top of the rear wheel, so I guess that can be considered kind of a rear-mounted motor. Cool stuff. Moving on from there. Hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm having a ball doing these, although we are freezing our butts off right now. Let's go to Jerry Heasley's Corvette masterpieces. Jerry, I wish you'd watch some of my videos so you can give me a thumbs up. The Astro Vette, holy cow, folks. This is one that darn near made it into production. And look at this thing, it's stunning. The car was originally supposed to be by the 1980 production type Corvette with an all-new mid-engine chassis and a transversely mounted engine. So this one actually had the motor mounted parallel a la Lamborghini Miura. A beautiful car, check it out. How come they can't do exhaust pipes like that now? Look at the beautiful front end. Okay, there's the spare tire. You lift that up, you get access to the motor. The doors were not only gull-wing, but they were hinged as well. So along the middle, you'd open up the door, it would gull-wing, and then it would hinge as well. Isn't that gorgeous? That one almost made it into production for 1980, and I will say that it's a little better looking than the one that actually did make it into production. Oh, that's for another time. So moving on, we get to our, finally here, finish us off today. We get to the, this one is actually my favorite one. It almost made it into production for 1986. The Corvette Indy. Look at that, folks. Look at these beautiful illustrations leading up to the actual car. I highlighted here. The Indy boosted all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, a lightweight backbone unibody made largely of high-tech carbon fiber, and an active suspension. Folks, this was 1986. Think of all that cool stuff that's in there. This thing should have made it into production. A gorgeous car by anyone's stretch of imagination with all sorts of high-tech stuff. My gosh. Chevrolet once upon a time had so much money they could do pretty much anything. Beautiful cars. That one they did in red. They did one in silver. Beautiful wheels. Imagine four-wheel drive and four-wheel steering made of carbon fiber. Not to mention the fact that it had an absolutely badass motor. Folks, there it is. So again, if you thought 2020 was the first rear/mid-mounted Corvette, there's some proof that it's been a long time coming. Folks, thank you so much for watching Corvette Talk with Scags. I hope you enjoyed the concepts and the prototypes and the oddballs and now the mid-mounted engine Corvettes. Folks, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I look forward to talking to you guys next week when we're going to do some racing prototypes. Thank you so much, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.